is hosting the Lord's 55th annual Passover with a all-access pass to the lamb slaughter, all-black party, scripture breakdown class, kids party, the Lord's 55th annual Passover, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Get your all-access pass at isupk.com, starting with April 17th events with the lamb slaughter at 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. in North Carolina. Make sure that you get involved. Make sure that you're in the house at 1921 Strickland Road, Clayton, North Carolina. Followed up on April 18th, Thursday, the all-black party, the ISUPK concert series in Durham, North Carolina at the Durham Armory. Last year we tore it down, and this year it's gonna be a whole movie. Then Friday, we have the kids party with a petting zoo. On top of that, it's going to be held at the Sky Zone Trampoline Park with virtual reality included. Get your all-access pass at isupk.com. April 19th in the evening, General Mahaiman's scripture breakdown class. You already know we got the heavy hitter in the building, and it's going to be at the South Square Event Center. Make sure that you're in the house starting at 7 p.m. in Durham, North Carolina. Then April 20th, the moment you've been waiting for, the Lord's 55th annual Passover. Make sure that everybody's in the house, and it's being held at the last Black National Fairgrounds in Pittsboro, North Carolina, starting at 6 p.m. Also housing an actual slave quarters, which you will be able to go and take pictures and video footage in front of it. That's 191 Fairgrounds Road, Pittsboro, North Carolina, April 20th, starting at 6 p.m. Doors open at 4 p.m. for a brunch. Make sure you're in the house on time. Then April 21st, Sunday, is the Feast of Unleavened Bread at the Haiti Heritage Center, 804 Old Fayetteville Street, Durham, North Carolina. Make sure that you are in the house. If you have not booked your hotel room, there are still a few rooms available at the Millennium Hotel. Check the number. Make sure that you call. Rooms are only available while they last. The Lord's 55th annual Passover, hosted by the ISUPK.
Got about a 45-minute.
Fine. All I'm going to say is this. When those curses fall upon you, don't pray to God because he's not going to hear you. And that's according to the Bible, not to me. But if you want to listen to the Lord thy God, you get into the ISUPK, the Commander General Yohana, and you learn what it really means to follow the law. And with that, that's my time.
Give that priest and prophet a round of applause, man.
On the holy people. Holy means set apart. Y'all want to set apart people unto the Lord thy God. Your God.
Now that you have that, you should be right there. Now I should want to live different. Now I don't want to be a gangbanger or a drug dealer. I don't want to be a pimp. Man, that's hell. Running out of food stamps because your dad is not in the house, man. That's hell. Having your uncles, your cousins, your older brother in and out of the prison system. That's hell. Right. Raising your daughters to grow up in this society to where they could get on TikTok and Instagram and they see some OnlyFans page promoting. That's hell. Worrying if your young son's gonna grow up to be a man or if he wants to change gender. That's hell. This is a hellish condition that we live in, man.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. All we do is tell black and Hispanic people is to get off of drugs, get off of weed, get off of heroin, and come serve Lord And the white woman got a problem with that, man. The white woman got a problem with Latinos and black people being civilized and coming to serve the Lord, man. Understand? And I guarantee you, you see this black girl outside of this, you don't think that she's civilized, kind. She a Republican, Democrat. She a politician. I also teach black people to stop celebrating Christmas. Stop celebrating Easter. Stop celebrating the culture of America who has raped, robbed, and murdered you for the last 40 and goddamn years, man. That's what we do. We love blacks, Hispanics, and other Indians. We're not going to prophesy unto you smooth things. I'm not going to talk to you about what sounds good. I'm going to tell you the goddamn truth, man. Right. And the truth is that the people that killed Tyree Nichols, they loved America, man. Right.
Any society, the Romans, the Persians and the Medes, the Greeks, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, they all had their height and time to rule and be in power. And guess what? This word said that they was going to fall, and they fell. And in the Bible it says America's going to fall. Right. And it's falling right in front of you. And you still don't believe it, man.
Even black men who are law enforcement are beating the hell out of other black brothers. No different than brothers in the streets and what they do.
Right. Stop and frisk you. They tell you you don't belong in this country, Mexican man and woman. Last I heard, you never hear America. You never even heard Donald Trump mention the high number of undocumented Asian immigrants. Right. He's not locking up Asian kids from Honduras, kids from Guatemala, kids from El Salvador.
We gonna teach the truth in Hollywood, whether you like Ripley's and you believe it or you believe it or not. I was gonna say that.
Man, another long day at camp. The demons was out today, man. Let's clap it up. Let's do a sound check real quick. Make sure we can be heard. We hooked up the sound system at the last minute. Oh, we good. This is Precinct Officer Tawaga Bar. This is the Wednesday Law and History class. I got Ibaya Allah rocking with me. I got, you know what I'm saying? I got Officer Karataza rocking with me. We up in here. You know what I'm saying? My apologies for starting a little late. You know how things is, and you know how Judites can be. You know what I'm saying? We could, wait till the last minute to do things, and then that affect other things. So my apologies on that, but we still going to rock it out. I want to talk about Jezebel, the spirit of Jezebel. If you could give me the story of Jezebel. It's in what is it, First Kings? Give me something with Jezebel. Jezebel. I'm sure y'all heard about Jezebel in the Christian church and just in the world. They usually say a promiscuous woman is a Jezebel. That's a woman that is, immoral. They call her a Jezebel. But yeah, so I want to talk about that. That spirit that's in the Christian church, that spirit that is taking over the Black and Hispanic community, and that's the spirit of America. America wants us to be up under women, so to speak, and cater to women, so to speak. And a lot of the laws and the things that they have done. In fact, I was just seeing a video earlier today with it was a woman, it was a white woman complaining that she was in I don't know if she was in the Olympics or whatever, but she was swimming, and she basically it was a draw. So she was up against a transmission person, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a draw. They both finished at the same time, and they opted to give the transmission person the trophy and take a picture with them. Even though it was a draw, they wanted to take the picture with that person because they wanted to cater to that community or cater, you know what I mean, to that whole idea. Well, it's unfair, but that's the fight that women had to be equal. This is what it has now become. It has now become, now you are competing against a man. It started with you having equal rights, but now you find yourself in the ring with a man that looks like you. You know what I mean? Because there is no real rule of law when it comes to how our oppressors run things. But if we look at the Bible, this would never happen in the Bible because the Lord made man and female. He made them for a reason. He didn't make alternative genders and different genders within the genders, and they have so many names now, it's ridiculous.
Right.
But the point is that spirit of wanting to be equal, wanting to say that you can do what a man can do, you want to be neck and neck, you want the same opportunities to play football, to box, to do MMA. That stuff is now nipping women in the butt. And it's clearly, I'm not saying I agree with it. It is unfair, but this is the spirit of America. The spirit of America is to first cater to women, and now they're catering to people who identify as women and are not biologically women. You know what I mean? If you could, what you got for me?
1 Kings chapter 16.
Let me hear it.
This is the book of 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then the word of the Lord came unto Jezebel, the son of Anai, against Baasha, saying, For as much as I exalted thee out of the dust, and made thee prince over my people Israel, and thou hast walked in the way of Jeroboam, and hast made my people Israel to sin, to provoke me with anger their sins. Behold, I will take away the prosperity of Baasha, and the prosperity of his house, and will make thy house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat.
Mm-hmm.
You can drop down. I said 31. Start talking about Jezebel.
Okay, yeah, give me 31. Yeah.
The book of 1 Kings chapter 16.
Salaki, I was just finna go there on the computer, but I cannot find my Bible. Like, man, if I find out a brother then grab my Bible, I'm gonna slide on him. I'm gonna slide on that brother. I'm playing, but yeah, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks. I ain't been able to find my physical Bible. But anyway, go on. I wanted to say that. I said I'm gonna say that in class. I'm gonna slide on you, Ak. Go ahead.
The book of 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 31. And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Baal.
Now this is talking about King. This is talking about Ahab, King Ahab, who followed in the sins of his forefathers. And then he took read that part again. He took a wife.
That he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Baal.
Okay. Read from the top again, verse 31.
Come on. The book of 1 Kings, chapter 16, verse 31.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam.
It says it came to pass as it had been a light thing, like it's bad enough you think that it wasn't nothing that you walking in the sins of your forefathers. Like we said, where it talks about we put the branch to our nose, I believe, and it says we call it a light thing.
Right.
Like we call like smoking weed a light thing. Like him walking in the sins of his forefathers and being king of Israel, it was like nothing to him to sin against the Lord. And the Bible is being sarcastic by saying, and it came to pass as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took a wife, Jezebel, the daughter of Baal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worship him. Now, this was a Philistine. So I went ahead and read it, but he took a daughter of the Philistines. It was already bad enough. You was already doing bad and hadn't repented and stopped doing the things you were doing. But now you took a daughter like Samson. I think Samson, Delilah was a Philistine, I think, if I can remember correctly. But these were an African race. And he took daughters of the Philistines. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 32. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria. And Ahab made a grove. And Ahab did more to provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him.
So Ahab did more than all the kings of Israel before him to anger the Lord. He made an altar to his woman. Now, this is the thing, what we always say, like when it comes to interracial marriage, or, typically it's going to be, when it comes to our people in America, you think typically it's talking about white women, but this is to any woman, because any woman that you fall in love with, that you know your heart is connected to her, and you want to show her how much you love her, you're going to start to try to do things to please her, right, to make her smile, to make her love you more. It's just the nature of a man. You're going to try to do things, and you know, a lot of times brothers would set up an altar to these these different heathens gods. And so this is the same thing with us. That's why we're told not to go into other nations, because it'd be easy for a brother to, you know, get with an East Indian woman, and then next thing you know, he wearing shirts with Shiva on it, right? And he wearing, you know, armbands and you know, beads, and he dressing like how they dress, right? Or he growing dreadlocks or something because he's seen that's how they get down in East India. You know, the people that are really super religious and spiritual. But you will take on the ways of this woman. It's just a natural thing that will eventually happen. You will compromise your God for her God. So even if you don't want to give up your God, what you'll do is you'll bring a little bit of her God into the worship of your God. And that's what you see happen plenty of times in the Bible. Go ahead.
Verse 34. In his days did Hiel the Bethelite build Jericho. He laid the foundation thereof in Abiram, his firstborn, and set up the gates thereof, and his youngest son, Segub, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Joshua, the son of Nun.
Keep going.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 17, verse 1. And Elijah the Tishbite, who was an inhabitant of Gilead, said unto Ahab, as the Lord God of Israel liveth.
Elijah the Tishbite. Now he was an Israelite, but he was a Tishbite. So that's where people get confused with that too, where you talk about Ruth being a Moabite woman. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like Israelites lived in different lands, and we were called. It's like saying the Wagga Bar, the Californian. Right. He's an Israelite, but you know he's known as someone from California, or the New Yorkan, the brother for Captain Tazariak, the New Yorkan, you know what I'm saying? He's an Israelite, but he's from this region. We're defining him by this region where he grew up, this town, this city where he came from. But he is an Israelite. Okay, it says Elijah what?
And Elijah the Tishbite, who was an inhabitant of Gilead, said unto Ahab, as the Lord God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. Verse 2, and the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Let me see. Hold on. I want to give me 1 second. Let me scroll. This is going into what her sister gave her last. Her and her son was about to die, and Elijah said, make me a cake, and she baked him a cake, and her son did die. But Elijah pleaded with the Lord, and the Lord revived her son. Okay, but I want to get to Jezebel, where she give me 18. Let's go. The book of 1 Kings, chapter 18, verse 1. And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, go show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain unto the earth. Verse 2, and Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria. And Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house. Now Obadiah feared the Lord greatly. For it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave. So when Jezebel came into power with Ahab, she cut off the prophets of the Lord. She brought in the prophets of Baal, you know what I'm saying? And she killed the prophets of the Lord. She removed them and killed them, you know what I'm saying? And she brought her prophets. And Ahab is supposed to be, you know what I'm saying, a king of Israel. And he allowing this woman to do this in the name of her God. That's the sign of a weak brother, a weak man. In a woman that wants sheer power, that wants to be in control, and wants her way or no way. Right. Go ahead. Okay. For it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave. and fed them with bread and water.
So this righteous brother Obadiah, who feared the Lord, he took some brothers into a cave. He took 100 prophets into the cave, hid them up in the cave, and was taking care of them. That's true brotherhood. Right. See, a lot of people don't understand, like we don't understand, even in the truth. You don't understand the love that the prophets had for their people. The real, genuine, the same type of love you have for your children, for your mother, for your blood brother. This is the love that the prophets had for their people. This is like when things would happen to our people, we would rip our garments, you know what I'm saying, and pour sackcloth, pour ashes on our head and put on sackcloth. Sackcloth is like like burlap, like what the slaves used to wear, you know, like a rough material. But we would be in derision. We would be mourning for the atrocities of our people for like 70 AD, or for anything that would happen to our people. We would be hurt. We would weep and we would howl for our people. This is the mindset that brothers had back then. I'm not saying brothers don't have it now, but you have to understand how much these brothers love their people. This brother took 50 of these prophets, 100 of them, and hid them in the cave and was taking care of them, feeding them bread and water, just keeping them alive because he loved the Lord and he knew the promises that the Lord has spoke to Abraham. Go ahead.
It's like I said, if I could, also on the flip side of it, talking about the brotherhood, what Ahab is doing by marrying a heathen woman is setting a bad example and being to other brothers, because other brothers will now follow suit because he is in a higher place of being a king.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
What are we talking about?
Kind of like how the sports dudes, they all get a white woman.
Right.
And now promotes that brothers are going to go now look after and going to go get a white woman when it's marrying heathen women is a detriment to not only yourself, but to us as a nation. What
the brother said is on point. Like what Karatazar was saying is like, just like, and let me know if y'all in the comments, if y'all can hear the brother in the back. Where's the mic?
Right.
Okay, let me know if y'all can hear the brother in the back when he talks. He just spoke, but I'm gonna just reiterate what he said. He was saying it's just like with Ahab taking on this heathen wife. He's the king of Israel, and brothers are looking at him like, I can do it too. That's why the Bible says, what did it start off with saying? The sins of Jeroboam. You following in the sin. You're doing the same thing that the previous kings did. You know what I mean? You're doing the same thing that King Solomon did. You're doing this same thing. Like, you're following it. And it's because brothers are looking at this example and saying, well, if he's doing it, why can't I do it? And then we have the example now of brothers that are put in high positions, giving money, coming straight out of the ghetto. And then they go and get another woman of another nation. And so brothers are looking like, that's what I want. I was just looking at the story with the brother that D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell, I didn't know. I just recently seen that he is with a white woman. You know what I mean? But a lot of these brothers that are in the sports industry, in the NBA and the NFL, they are with a white woman. You know what I mean? It's something about that, but you've been seeing that for years. You've been seeing that since the plantation. Brothers was getting hung in trees because of that, and we didn't learn. Go ahead.
Kind of slack, so I don't mean to.
Yeah, you good.
But if I could, like even with Ahab, like brothers not seeing that, they looking at it as being something, but the effect of it, like with Ahab marrying Jezebel, brothers are dying. She's causing brothers to die. It's a direct effect on our lives. It's like these brothers get with these NFL players. She now got your mind in the cloud where you're neglecting your responsibility to your neighborhood or to your community. So it's kind of the same effect of brothers dying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
because that's the same thing. And then it's like this too. When I thought about it, I'm like, would they even look your way if you wasn't a multimillionaire, basketball player, football player? Right. Would these women even give you the time of day? Would they be willing to lay down with you and have your child and all of these things that they're doing with these brothers if you didn't have all that money? Because you take away that money, then he's you.
Right.
He's me. He's everyone, every brother in the hood, in the neighborhood.
Right.
You become a regular black man all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Because it was talking about they living in a $4 million house in LA. You know, look at him and his wife and his kid and they $4 million house. But I thought to myself, was like, they wouldn't give you the time of day if you wasn't on television and if you didn't have that money. And we done seen the examples that when it all goes bad, they're going to get your bag.
Right.
When it all goes bad, they're going to get your bag. They're going to get your money. They're going to have you in court, and you're going to be coming out the pocket and looking retarded, looking crazy, like you made a damn mistake. Like that brother Jonathan Majors. He getting chased down the street by this white woman, beating the hell out of him. And then he's found guilty for something, for putting his hands on her or something like that. But the video show he's running from her.
Right.
She's not running for him. She's not calling 911. She's trying to beat that brother's brains in. And now he's with Megan Good. Now I seen the thing where he says that he's in love with Megan Good. You should have been in love with a Megan Good from the get-go when you got put on. That's who you should have went to go look for. Is a woman that looks like you, a woman that understands you. You know. Go ahead.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 18, verse 5. And Ahab said unto Obadiah, go into the land unto all fountains of water, and go unto all brooks. Peradventure we may find grass to save the horses and mules alive, that we lose not all the beasts. So they divided the land between them to pass through it.
Mm-hmm.
Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. And as Obadiah was in the way, behold, Elijah met him, and he knew him, and fell on his face, and said, Art thou that my Lord Elijah? And he answered him, I am. Go, tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here.
Mm-hmm.
And said, what have I sinned, that thou wouldst deliver thy servant into the hand of Ahab to slay me?
What verse are you on?
That was into verse 9. I'm on verse 10 now.
Okay.
Verse 10. As the Lord thy God liveth, there is no nation or kingdom whither my Lord hath not sent to seek thee.
So I want you to go back a little bit. So Obadiah was on the way and he met Elijah. Okay. Now I want you to read verse 8.
Verse 8.
No, give me verse 7. I'm sorry.
Verse 7. And as Obadiah was in the way, behold, Elijah met him,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew him,
Mm-hmm.
and fell on his face and said, Art thou that my Lord Elijah?
So Obadiah, the brother that was hiding the prophets, he seen Elijah and he knew him and he fell on his face because he said, I'm seeing the prophet of the Lord. That's what a lot of these brothers should do when they see brothers from the ISUPK. You should give reverence to brothers that's actually doing the work of the Lord. Instead of trying to argue with brothers and I had some clown today on the social media page on what is it? Southern California page that came on there and trying to teach us the name of the Lord. And why are we using the word Jesus? It means hail Zeus. It means blessed Zeus and all of this crap.
Right.
And then I said, show your sources. And he commenced to showing a meme that's been floating around the internet for years. So he said, well, Zeus means, the word Jesus, the letter J didn't exist 500 years ago. It was this, and it meant Zeus, and it meant this. And I was like, brother, this is the ISUPK. We've been doing this since 1969. Right. You come on here and trying to teach us when you should be putting on all black and sitting in class and learning the goddamn thing.
That's right.
But you like brothers have the gall and they have the audacity to think that they should challenge us when they should really bow down. Right. They should recognize who's actually doing the work in the streets.
Right.
And shut the hell up and get in class.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Come on, bro. Verse 7. And as Obadiah was in the way, behold, Elijah met him, and he knew him. And he fell on his face and said, Art thou that my Lord Elijah? And he answered him, I am. Go, tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here. And he said, What, have I sinned, that thou wouldst deliver thy servant into the hand of Ahab to slay me?
So the brother Obadiah thought that Elijah was coming to bring him back up to the king because secretly he had hid these prophets. He's like, what did you came to this to get me killed? You came to bring me to judgment before the king Ahab? Go ahead.
Verse 10. As the Lord thy God liveth, there's no nation or kingdom whither my Lord hath not seen to seek thee. And when they said, He is not there, he took an oath of the kingdom and nation that they found thee not. And now thou sayest, Go, tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here.
So he's saying, like, my Ahab been looking for you all this time and they could never find you. Now all of a sudden you pop up and now you telling me to go tell him that you're here. So he like his mind is playing tricks on him. Like, wait, hold on. Like, you come to slay me? I'm up for judgment or something? Because they've been trying to find you and they couldn't find you. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 12. And it shall come to pass, as soon as I am gone from thee, that the Spirit of the Lord shall carry thee whither I know not. And so when I come and tell Ahab, and he cannot find thee, he shall slay me. But I, thy servant, fear the Lord from my mouth, from my youth.
Where you at?
Verse 13 now.
Okay.
Was it not told my Lord what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of the Lord? How I hid 100 men of the Lord's prophets by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water?
So Obadiah is making a case for himself. Like, he's showing, like, I've been serving the Lord from my youth. I've hid the Lord's prophets to take care of them, serve them with bread and water. He's like making a case for himself. Like, I've been doing this. I've been like really trying to do the work of the Lord on the low. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
So Obadiah knew that Elijah, he said that the Lord will take you, the Lord will shall carry thee whither I know not. So Obadiah knew that Elijah was going to get beamed up.
Let me see. Where we at? Where you at in 12?
12 times, sir. And it came to pass, as soon as I gone from thee, that the Spirit of the Lord shall carry thee whither I know not. So when I come and tell Ahab, and he cannot find thee, he shall slay me.
So he's saying that it's like as soon as like, because they've been looking for Elijah, right? And they never could find Elijah when they were pursuing him and trying to find him. So he's saying it's going to come to pass, and I go back and tell King Ahab that you're here. Then when they come and find you, ain't nobody going to know where you at.
Okay.
No one knows ditter where you went. Like, no one's going to be able to find you. Now they're going to look at me like I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm going to get killed for it.
Right.
So he's saying it like that. Like, what if I go tell them and then I come back, you're not here? Nobody going to, like, it's kind of like, like slang, like only the Lord knows where you're going to be at. Okay. But what if you're not here? Right. When we come back, then it's going to look bad on me, and then they're going to kill me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. And now thou sayest, go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here, and he shall slay me. Verse 15. And Elijah said, as the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. So
Elijah is letting them know, don't even worry. I'm not going to disappear. I'm going to be right here. Just go tell him. Go ahead.
So Obadiah, verse 16. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah.
So the Ahab, the king of Israel, went to go meet Elijah. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, Art thou he that troubleth Israel?
Art thou he that troubled Israel? He said, when the king of Israel saw the prophet of the Lord, he said, aren't you the nigga that troubles the whole kingdom? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing. You have brothers that are, you can look at it like this: the Christian church, and they look at the Israelites, they look at ISBK like, aren't y'all the niggas that trouble our people? Because y'all bringing all of this stuff up about a black Jesus. It don't matter what color Christ is. Why are you bringing that up? You bring all this stuff about the white man. God loves everybody. Why are you even talking about that? You trouble our people. Like when Christ came, Christ troubled the Sadducees and Pharisees because he was doing things that they could not do, and he was speaking against the things that they stood for. You know what I mean? As far as making themselves look self-righteous when they were horrible in the inside, in the inward parts. Right. You know what I mean? Doing the same things that they were condemning people for. Right. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 18. And he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou in thy father's house.
He said, I ain't troubled Israel, but you in your father's house, because Ahab came from a house of sinful forefathers, and he was doing the same thing. Go ahead.
In that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Lord.
He have what?
Thou hast forsaken the commandments of the Lord.
So the king of Israel had forsaken the commandments of the Lord. Go ahead.
And thou hast followed Baalim.
And you have followed other gods. You have followed white Jesus. You have followed Buddha. You have followed the prophet Muhammad. You have followed these other people, these other religions. Go ahead.
Verse 19. Now therefore stand and gather to me all Israel to Mount Carmel, and to the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the groves 400, which eat of Jezebel's table.
So get all of your prophets, and we're going to meet at this place, Mount Carmel, and we're going to go ahead. I don't want to skip up. Go ahead.
Verse 20. So Ahab went unto all the children of Israel and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long have ye between two opinions?
Elijah said, how long is you going to be, playing the fence between two opinions, two ways of following the Lord? Either keep going, Salagia.
Okay.
I'll be like skipping up. Go ahead.
If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word.
Now, this is something that I even brought out like months ago in a class with what is it? What is that papyri called? Damn, I'm forgetting the name of the papyri. But they found a document, an ancient document from the time of 2 Kings, where Israelites were living in Lower Egypt, or I think you would call it Upper Egypt, at the bottom where it's the border between Egypt and Nubia. And they had a community of Israelites living there. And this when the Persians were ruling Egypt. They had Israelites living there, and they had a community where they had a whole tabernacle tent that was made like the one in the wilderness. And they were sending letters back and forth to to Jerusalem, to the religious leaders in Jerusalem. And this is real history, right? And so what they found was that these Israelites were worshiping not only Yahweh, but they were worshiping a Egyptian goddess also together. So what you're reading right here is this actually was happening with our people in different areas where we'll hold on to the faith of Israel, of the law, statutes, and commandments, but also we'll have these other gods that we're worshiping too. And so Elijah is saying, make a choice. Are you going to be stuck between two opinions? Are you going to follow Yahweh? Or are you going to follow Baal? What is it going to be? Right. Go ahead.
Come on. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long ye be between two opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. Mm-hmm. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word.
As they always do, because they don't know a damn thing. When you struck with the basic wisdom and understanding of common sense, you don't know what to say. You've been following, you're following America and white Jesus, and you profess to love God. Right. But when we look at the Bible, we open the Bible and we read the Bible, we see that the Bible don't say what you're doing in Christianity and what America is doing according to God. So you're cut between two opinions. Right. And a lot of brothers and sisters just look at us like starstruck, like they never heard this before. They never heard that Christ was a black man. They never heard that you're not supposed to eat pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster. And they're just stuck. They're dumbfounded. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 22. Then said Elijah unto the people, I, even I only, remain a prophet of the Lord. But Baal's prophets are 450 men.
So Elijah, you know what I'm saying? He boasted in the Lord. He said, I'm a prophet of the Lord. That's what we do in the ISUPK. We say this is the home of the truth. That's right. You cannot say the ISUPK is not the home of the truth. Right, there's nobody that's living today, nobody that has any records or anything that say that what we say is a lie. Right. We stand on that and we boast about it. Because it's the truth. Right. And Elijah boasts about it like, only I'm a prophet of the Lord. And I'm standing against 400 of these fake Negroes right here that claim to be spiritual.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 23. Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces and lay it on wood and put no fire under. And I will dress the other bullock and lay it on wood and put no fire under. And call ye on the name of your gods. I will call on the name of the Lord, and the God that answereth by fire, let him be God. And all the people answered and said, it is well spoken.
So he said, let's get some cows, some bulls, and let's 2 altars? Salaki. Okay. 2 altars, and we're gonna both call on the name of our God. We're gonna set them up like a sacrifice, and we're gonna both call on the name of who we believe in and see what it do. Go ahead.
Come on. Verse 25. And Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, choose you one bullock for yourselves and dress it first, for ye are many, and call in the name of your God.
So
put no fire.
Salaki, you go ahead, finish.
But put no fire under.
So he said, choose like, choose the bull or the steer that you want to use. Like in the law, you would choose something that's without spot or blemish, but choose the best one for you. All of y'all, just choose one. And now I'm gonna choose one. Go ahead.
Verse 26. And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it and called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon, saying, "O Baal, hear us." But there was no voice.
They cried on Baal from morning to the evening. The whole day they cried out to their God. Go ahead.
Saying, "O Baal, hear us." But there was no voice, nor any that answered. And they leaped upon the altar which was made. And it came to pass at noon.
It said that they called out and no one answered them. They leaped up on the altar that they was made, probably prostrating themselves, calling on the God that they claim to that is a real God. Go ahead.
Verse 27. And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, cry aloud, for he is a God. Either he is talking or he is pursuing.
Good night. Go ahead.
Or he is in a journey.
Yeah.
Or peradventure he sleepeth.
Yeah.
And must be awake.
He said, so yeah, cry out to your God. Maybe nigga done went out. He done went and he got a flight ticket and he want to have a vacation or something. Maybe he sleep. Maybe on a long journey, you know what I mean? But he's mocking them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he knows their God is not real. Right. And he done put them in a box. Right. You know what I mean? And this is going on in front of all the people, the children of Israel. Go ahead.
Verse 28, and they cried aloud and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lances, till the blood gushed out upon them.
And so they cut themselves. And now, there's people that really do this. I don't know what it is. This is not this is like one of those, I'm going to say it's like a Arabic people, maybe. I can't really remember, but there's people that literally hit themselves to their bleeding.
No.
They hit themselves to their bleeding, and this is their belief. This is their way. You know what I mean? You got some African tribes that cut themselves. When you get a certain age, they cut all over, all around the face and make, all kind of scarification. It's their way to their gods. Go ahead.
Even Christians in the South, they bring them snakes and the snakes bite them.
Right.
Do all that weird stuff with like them, like self-mutilation.
Anybody in the comments from the South, y'all know about those Christians that bring the snakes in the church and they let the snake bite them. You know what I'm saying? And really, shed blood. But yeah, they cut themselves. You know what I'm saying? In order for their God to answer them. Go ahead. What verse we on?
Verse 29.
Okay.
Verse 29. And it came to pass when midday was past, and they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice, nor any to answer, nor any that regarded.
So nothing answered them.
Right.
They didn't even have no damn witchcraft or no voodoo. Nothing answered them. Nothing did a thing. Keep going.
Verse 30. And Elijah said unto all the people, come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him, and he repaired the altar of the Lord that was broken down. And Elijah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, unto whom the word of the Lord came, saying, Israel shall be thy name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord, in which he made a trench about the altar, as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order and cut the bullock in pieces and laid him on the wood and said.
So he cut the steer in pieces. You know what I mean? And he laid it on the wood. And go ahead.
And he said, fill 4 barrels with water and pour it on the burnt sacrifice on the wood. And he said, do it the second time. And they did it the second time.
So he said, fill 4 barrels of water and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. Right. Then do it again. Right. Now he's not mocking them. He like, let me show you something. Let me show you who my Lord is. Go ahead.
And he said, do it the third time. And they did it the third time.
They did it a third time. Go ahead.
And the water ran round about the altar, and he filled the trench also with water.
So it's filled with water around the trench. The burnt sacrifice is wet. Anybody know? Common sense tells you that if you're trying to light a fire, you're trying to light something, you don't want it to be wet or moist.
Right.
You would rather it be dry. So what he's doing is mocking them again. He's mocking them again. He's showing Israel like nothing is impossible with the power that he serves. Go ahead.
Verse 36. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art God in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word. Hear me, O Lord, hear me, that this people may know that thou art the Lord God, and that thou hast turned their heart back again. Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice and the wood and the stones and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench.
He said the fire from heaven fell. The fire was so hot, it consumed the burnt sacrifice, meaning it burnt everything up. The wood, the stones, meaning the rocks, the dust, meaning the dirt, and it licked up the water that was in the trench, meaning the water extinguished and vaporized. Everything was vaporized. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 39, and when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they said, the Lord, he is the God. The Lord, he is the God.
Right. So all the people saw it, and they fell on their faces. But this is something that I'm thinking about. That is what is going to have to happen for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to understand that there is only one God, and it's the God of Israel.
Right.
Something major, something catastrophic, some calamity is going to happen for you to get it through your thick skull that you better serve the Lord and keep the commandments. Go ahead, Karatza.
So like, would that be like trying to picture it and put it in like in a modern sense? Would you kind of say like that was a lightning bolt that hit it, or like lightning bolts are like fire?
Yeah, I think a lightning bolt is kind of quick though. I would look at it like a lightning bolt, but like a flame coming from the sky straight to the ground.
Okay.
It's coming from heaven straight to the earth and burning everything up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Where we at?
Verse 40.
Let me hear it.
And Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal, let none one of them escape. And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there.
And they took all of those prophets and slew them. All of those false prophets, those Christian pastors, those Muslim imams, the people took them and slew them because they seen what was real and what wasn't real. They seen that these people were fake and the Lord wasn't with them. They seen that the God of Israel is the real God.
That's
right. Go ahead.
And Elijah said unto Ahab, get thee up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of abundance of rain. So Ahab went to eat and drink, and Elijah went up to the top of Carmel, and he cast himself down upon the earth and put his face between his knees and said to his servant, go up now, look toward the sea. And he went up and looked and said, there is nothing. And he said, go even 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time that he said, behold, there arises a little cloud out of the sea like a man's hand. And he said, go up, say unto Ahab, prepare thy chariot and get thee down, that the rain stop thee not. And it came to pass in the meanwhile that the heaven was black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel. And the hand of the Lord was on Elijah. And he girded up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. That was the chapter.
Wait, hold on. So like, I'm barely looking at the comments, but that what time? Oh, that was a minute ago. Israelite 144. Shut your goddamn mouth. Get in class, nigga. Salaki. These internet warriors I want you to go to the next verse. These internet warriors, you so prideful. You don't know a goddamn thing. He said, "What is the mark of the beast?" We got videos on what the mark of the beast is. We only should bow to Yahweh Bashem and not to man. What are you talking about? Salaki, y'all. I usually don't. I've been on my old self since when I first came into truth lately. I've been ready to battle these niggas in these comments. Y'all should be ready to battle too. Brothers should be ready to battle these fake Israelites and these Christians that think they know something because they've been reading 1,000 memes and watching 1,000 YouTube videos. You know what I mean? And anybody that posts back to back like that, like he posted, like it looked like he posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Within 3 minutes, he posted up 8 comments. You know what I mean? First of all, you should get off the goddamn weed. That's what you should do. Anyway, moving on. Right, sis. Meme Israelites. He was looking for attention. When they don't get that attention, you know, the wicked flee when no man pursueth. When they don't get that attention, they just disappear like Thanos. Just make them niggas just disappear. Salakia. Let's get to the next verse. I mean the next chapter.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 19, verse 1. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and with all how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time.
Damn. So Ahab, his weak went and told his wife what Elijah, the prophet of God, had done, how he had slain all of the prophets of the Lord, all of the prophets with the sword, all the prophets of Baal with the sword. And Jezebel said, she sent a messenger to Elijah and said, so let the gods do that to me. Let them do that to me also. If I make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. So she was bold, you know what I mean? She was a heathen. And this was Ahab, the king of Israel's wife. You know what I mean? She said, she basically said, like, well, let Yahweh do that to me. Let's see if he do that to me before tomorrow when I put you down, nigga. When I put you in the ground, Elijah. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life and came to Beersheba, which belonged to Judah, and left his servant there.
So Elijah, when he heard about this, he dipped out. He was afraid for his life. You know what I mean? He was on the run, basically. Go ahead.
Verse 4. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die and said, It is enough. Now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. As he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him and said unto him, Arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baking on the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink and laid him down again.
And so Elijah was depressed, man. Now you got the king of Israel, and since she's a heathen, I'll say the queen, like queen, pursuing him for his life, and he just feels like life is not worth living, man.
Right.
Like, damn, I'm just like I'm about to be slain, just like my forefathers. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And the angel of the Lord came again to the second time and touched him and said, Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. And he arose and did eat and drink and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of God.
Now I want you to stop. Now Elijah was on the run. Let's see real quick. Give me 1 second. Let's skip to 15. We've been over this before. Well, I've talked about Hazael, the Armenian, or the king of Aram. Let's skip down to 15, where the Lord sends Elijah. Let me see one more time. Yes, let's start at 15.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 19, verse 15. And the Lord said unto him, Go, return on thy way to the wilderness of Damascus.
Mm-hmm.
And when thou comest, anoint Hazael to be king over Syria.
He said, anoint Hazael to be king over Syria. Go ahead.
And Jehu, the son of Nimshi, shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel.
So he told him to go anoint another brother to be king over Israel, Jehu. So I want to skip a little bit. We're going to skip down. We're going to go to the next chapter, chapter 20. So we're going to skip that part. We're going to skip the part with because remember, Ahab went and fought, and I think him and his sons died when they battled Hazael. Is that right? When I went over to Hazael, the heathen that was actually anointed to be king. I think
when Elisha wept.
No. But Ahab, he died. He died going into war with the heathen that was anointed by Elijah. But let's skip to 21. I'm just showing you Jezebel. I'm trying to focus on Jezebel, not Ahab. Let's get to.
It's like, why was the heathen appointed king?
No, he wasn't appointed king over Israel. He was appointed king over his people. But he was a strong king that couldn't be defeated. Like he was a part of a group of kings, like a line of kings. Hazael, King Hazael, and he's in the Bible a lot. If I can remember correctly, he could not be defeated. He was just a warlord, you know what I'm saying? But he was anointed by Elijah, you know what I'm saying, to be the king over his people. If you could. Now, Jehu, the brother Jehu, was anointed to be the king over Israel. And this is at the same time that everybody thinks Ahab is the king of Israel. So we're going to get to that with Jehu and how he ended Jezebel. But I want to also get this part where Ahab wanted the vineyard from the brother. So you can start at verse 1 on 21, chapter 21, verse 1. 1 Kings, chapter 21, verse 1.
Oh, God. The book of 1 Kings, chapter 21, verse 1. Mm-hmm. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard, which was in Jezreel.
There we go again. Naboth the Jezreelite. So brothers be like, Naboth wasn't an Israelite, he was a Jezreelite. Elijah wasn't an Israelite, he was a Tishbite. Ruth wasn't an Israelite, she was a Moabite. Brother, you don't understand the Bible.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel.
Mm-hmm.
Hard.
Which was where?
Which was in Jezreel.
This is a perfect precept for brothers that say that. Remember, I said it earlier. Brothers lived in different areas and they were called that, right? So he's a Jezreelite and he lived in Jezreel.
Right.
But his that's not his nationality. That's just his. How can I say? It's like now with us today. We're called African Americans, Mexicans, whatever you want to call it, from the lands we're from, but we're really Israelites.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money.
So Ahab wanted this brother Naboth's vineyard because it was close to his house. And he said he would give him, something better or even more money for it. Go ahead.
And Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee.
Now, let's be honest. if you have some land or something and somebody wants it for a certain reason, like what Ahab said, but he's willing to pay more for it or give you something better for it. I mean, that's a square deal. Most people would take it like, I'm finna come up. But if you have a, what is it when you really connected to something? What is the word? It's to start with an S.
Sentimental.
Yeah, when you have a sentimental value on something, like it ain't no amount of money that you're trying to give it away for. It's like my great grandfather had this. He gave it to his son. My father gave it to me, and I'm gonna give it to my son. I'm not selling it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Come on.
Read that part for again. What his response.
And they both said unto Ahab, the Lord forbid me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee.
The inheritance of my fathers. This came from my fathers. I just can't give you my inheritance. This has been in the family for generations. Right. Go ahead.
And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which both the Jezebel had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers.
Now Ahab is brokenhearted and he's acting like a bitch because he can't get this land that he wanted, and he wanted it just because it was close to his house. Go ahead.
And he laid him down upon his bed, and turned away his face, and would eat no bread.
So he's so damn sad he wouldn't even eat. He's depressed that he can't have this land because it would have just been so perfect. This vineyard would have been so great because it's right by his house. Go ahead.
But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said unto him, why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread?
So Jezebel wants to know why he's not eating any bread. Why are you so down? Go ahead.
And he said unto her, because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite and said unto him, give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
And Jezebel, his wife, said unto him, dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel?
So she said, ain't you the king of Israel? Don't you run everything? This is the, the woman, the evil woman, the spirit of, conniving and usurping. Go ahead.
Come on. If it, so I can
read her how she responded in the beginning.
And Jezebel, his wife, said unto him, dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of both the Jezreelites.
She said, I will give you I will give it to you. Get up and eat. Don't even trip. It's yours. Go ahead.
Verse 8. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and the nobles who were in his city dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the letters, saying, proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people, and set two men, son of Belial, before him to bear witness against him, saying, thou didst blaspheme God and the king. Then carry him out and stone him that he may die. And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles who were in the inhabitants of his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them.
So she had wrote letters to the elders of Israel to set this brother up, to set him up like he blasphemed the Most High and the king, and to get him stoned to death. That was her way of getting the property for her husband. Does it sound familiar? I mean, it happens every day. Niggas get set up all the time.
Right.
Being weak and being dumb and silly for whatever reason, you get set up. Brothers get set up all the time by a woman. Okay. And that was her plot. Go ahead.
Verse 12. They proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people.
Mm-hmm.
And there came in two men, children of Belial, and sat before him. And the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme God and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones that he died. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead.
Now they done put this brother, this innocent brother to death, Jezebel, to give her husband the land, her weak husband, the land of this brother. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 16, and it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, which is in Samaria.
Now the word of the Lord came to Elijah to go and meet King Ahab. Go ahead.
Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him.
So this is the words of the Lord that Elijah is supposed to say to Ahab. Go ahead.
And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, in the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine.
The prophecy was that in the place that the dogs licked up the blood of Naboth, so shall the dogs lick up his blood. Go ahead.
Verse 20, and they have said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord.
So Ahab was sarcastic. He seen him like, so, oh, you found me, my enemy. Ahab looked at Elijah as his enemy, right? He said, oh, you found me. Have you found me? Right? And Elijah said, what?
And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and I will take away thy posterity, and I will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel.
Good night. He said, I will cut off of him that pisseth on the wall, meaning I will cut off nephew, son and nephew from him. A man, anything that can pisseth on the wall, I'm going to cut off from you. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And him that is shut up and left in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahisha, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel.
I want you to remember that was the prophecy that Elijah spoke, said the dog shall eat Jezebel, right? Go ahead.
Verse 24, him that dieth of Ahab in the city, the dog shall eat, and him that dieth in the field of the shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all things, as did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass, when Ahab heard those words, that he rent his clothes and put on sackcloth upon his flesh and fasted and lay in sackcloth and went softly.
So when Ahab heard these words, he was remorseful. He ripped his clothes and he put on sackcloth, like I said before, and he fasted in sackcloth and he went out softly. He didn't fight back with Elijah. He didn't argue with Elijah. He didn't deny what he did. He went out. He went out softly in mourning and asking for forgiveness from the Lord. Go ahead.
Verse 28. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Seest thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me? Because he humbleth himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring evil upon his house.
Now, the Lord said, you see Elijah, how he humbled himself? I'm not going to put him to death. I ain't going to bring evil on him, but he's still going to get a judgment. I'm going to bring it on his sons. The Lord is a man of war. Like you probably would have thought, because he was, remorseful for what he did and the crimes that he did against the Lord and being the king of Israel, that the Lord would have said, okay, I see you. I'm going to turn away my wrath from you. The Lord said, okay, I'm going to spare you, but I'm not going to spare your posterity. I'm not going to spare your sons, right? Let's get some more. Next chapter. Let me see. I'm a fast forward it for time, right? I'm going to get to, if we could, let's get to where Jehu took the throne. Okay. Wait, I think I might be onto it. Let me see. Because there's a lot in between. Y'all bear with us. I'll get it. Man, that song is in my head though. Brotherhood is the weapon. In my head all day.
Like I think it's in 2 Kings chapter 9.
Nah. Let me hear it.
Sorry, this is the first citing his name I see. In the book of 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 14. So Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi, conspired against Joram. Now Joram had kept remote the lead, he and all Israel, because of Hazael, king of Syria. But King Joram was returned to be healed in Jezreel of the wounds which the Syrians had.
Okay, yeah. Where we at?
2 Kings 9 and 12.
Okay, I got it.
Most likely not 9 and 12, 9 and 16.
Okay, let me hear it.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 9, verse 16.
2 Kings or 1 Kings?
2 Kings. Verse 14. 2 Kings 9 and 14.
Okay, so let's skip up. Hold on one second.
Like, sir, what are you looking for? Sir?
We're looking for Jehu. When Jehu takes up, he takes the throne, and then he goes to see Jezebel.
I believe it's 10.
You said you think it's in 10?
Where he killed all the house of Ahab?
Yeah.
It's like 10.
Okay, I want you to skip down to, we're in the same chapter. Give me 20. Let's get 21. Wait. No. I won't. Let's start at verse. Did you say 16?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Let's start right there. Salaki, y'all.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 9, verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
So Jehu rode in a chariot and went to Jezreel, for Joram lay there. Hazael, king of Judah, was come down to see Joram. And there stood a watchman on the tower in Jezreel, and he spied the company of Jehu as he came and said, I see a company. Now,
I want you to remember, Jehu was anointed by Elijah to be the king of Israel. So you have Isaiah, which is the son of, what's his name? Ahab, king of Israel. And you have Joram, the king of Judah. Go ahead.
And Joram said, take an horseman and send to meet them. And
I'm sorry. Joram, king of Israel, Isaiah, king of Judah. Go ahead.
It's like, sir, if you want Jezebel's death, it's in 30, I believe.
Yeah. I'm just going to roll straight to it. Go ahead.
And Joram said, take an horseman and send to meet them. And let him say, is it peace? Is it peace? So there went on.
So the watchman in the tower, he seen the company of Jehu coming. He seen Jehu with his men coming, and so Joram, he took a horseman to go meet him and to see, is y'all coming for war or are y'all coming for peace? Go ahead.
So there went one on horseback to meet him and said, thus saith the king, is it peace? And Jehu said, what hast thou to do with peace?
He said, what do you know about peace? Go ahead.
Turn thee behind me. And the watchman told, saying, the messenger came to them, but he cometh not again.
So yeah, go ahead.
Verse 19. Then he sent out a second on horseback, which came to them and said, thus saith the king, is it peace? And Jehu answered, what hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee behind me.
Once again, the watchman goes out to ask, is y'all coming for peace or war? He say, nigga, what do you have to do with peace? Get behind me. Either you with me or you against me. What it's going to be? You know what I'm saying? You're not going. So the watchman never came back to, the messenger never came back to tell what was said. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And the watchman told, saying, he came even unto them and cometh not again. And the driving is like the driving of Jehu, the son of Nimshi, for he driveth furiously.
So that the driving, meaning on the horse, they driving furiously, like they coming hard. You can see them in the distance. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And Joram said, make ready.
What verse you on?
Verse 21. And Joram said, make ready. And his chariot was made ready.
So Joram, the king of Israel, and Ahaziah, the king of Judah, were hanging out together. Go ahead.
And Joram, king of Israel, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, went out, each in his chariot. And they went out against Jehu and met him in the portion of Naboth, the Jezreelite.
They went to go meet him in the land of Naboth, the Jezreelite, the brother that was killed unjustly for his vineyard. Go ahead.
Verse 22. And it came to pass
because of Jezebel. Go ahead.
And it came to pass when Joram saw Jehu that he said, is it peace, Jehu? And he answered, what peace? So long as the whoredoms of thy mother Jezebel and her witchcrafts are so many.
Yeah, he said, what peace? How, nigga, like, what peace is you talking about with so many whoredoms and serving all of these different gods and all of this witchcraft that's going on in the land? What peace is you talking about? Go ahead.
And Joram turned his hands and fled and said to Ahaziah, there is treachery, O Ahaziah.
So Joram turned his hands and fled, started to take off. He said to Joram, the king of Israel, said, this church, like they on some different type of time right now. So he trying to flee. Isaiah, he telling him there's treachery. And then go ahead, verse 24.
Verse 24. And Jehu drew a bow with his full strength and smote Joram between his arms.
So Jehu took a bow and arrow, and while he was running, he shot him between his arms, meaning in the chest area. Go ahead.
And the arrow went out at his heart, and he sunk down in his chariot.
It went through his heart, and he died in his chariot. Go ahead.
And then said Jehu to Bidkar, his captain, take up and cast him in the portion of the field of Naboth.
Jehu said, pick that nigga up and throw him in that field where they killed Naboth. Go ahead.
In the field of Naboth the Jezreelite. For remember how that when I and thou rode together after Ahab his father, the Lord laid this burden upon him.
If you could, Karatazak, because we skipped that part. Get when Ahab died. It's coming back to me. I don't know why. I went over this plenty of times in class, and I just cannot. I'm not recollecting it now. Right here, I remember this. I believe Ahab went to battle, and he was hit in his chariot. He was hit with an arrow in his chariot. I might be getting Ahab's death mixed up with King Saul's death when the messenger came and said that he killed Saul, told King David, and King David said, why did you feel comfortable killing God's anointed? He thought he was going to get some kudos for putting a sword through King Saul. And King David was like, you shouldn't have never told me that. Even though I was warring with King Saul, now you're going to die. You should have never put your hand against God's anointed. Yeah, just give me that real quick. While you get that, where we at? I bought
Verse 25.
verse 20. It says, then said Jehu to Bakar, the captain, take up and cast him in the portion of the field of Naboth the Jezreelite. For remember how that when I and thou rode together after Ahab his father, the Lord laid this burden upon him. So his son, remember the Lord, that prophecy that the Lord wasn't going to really touch Ahab. He was going to touch his sons. That curse was going to fall on his sons. Right? You got it?
It says 1 Kings 22.
1 Kings 22. Let's get that real quick. 1 Kings 22. Yeah.
29.
Let's get it.
So the king of Israel, it's like in 1 Kings 22 and 29. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead.
Uh-huh.
And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and enter into the battle, but put thou on thy robes. And the king of Israel disguised himself and went in unto battle.
So King Ahab, he disguised himself and he went into battle. Go ahead.
But the king of Syria commanded his 32 captains that had rule over his chariot, saying, fight, neither with small nor great, save only the king of Israel. And it came to pass when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, that they said, surely it is the king of Israel, and they turned aside to fight against him. And Jehoshaphat cried out. And it came to pass when the captains of the chariots perceived that it was not the king of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him. And a certain man drew a bow at the venture and smote the king of Israel between the joints of his harness. Wherefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, turn thine hand and carry me out of the host, for I am wounded. And the battle increased that day, and the king was stayed upon his chariot against the Syrians, and died at the even, and the blood ran out of the wound into the midst of the chariot. And there was a proclamation throughout the host about the going down of the sun, saying every man to his city and every man to his own country. So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. And one washed the chariot with the pool of Samaria, and the dogs licked up his blood.
That's what I want. The dogs licked up his blood. Like he died. He was disguised. Ahab went into the war disguised. He was hit between the heart, and he died in his chariot. And when they went to wash the chariot, the dogs licked up his blood. This was also, remember, this was a prophecy by Elijah. Okay. Now let's get back to where we was at. Go ahead.
So what did he do in the time from when he took his punishment to now? Because I thought the Lord was going to turn his
Remember what I talked about Hazael plenty of time. Hazael was the king of Syria, and he was a strong king. And the king of Israel, they went out to war with Hazael. Hazael was anointed by Elijah to become the king. Remember Hazael? How did he become the king? Can you remember? Hazael became the king. What was it like? The king that was before him, he was a servant to the king, and he ended up. The king was sick on his bed, and he suffocated him. That's in the Bible. He suffocated. That's how Hazael became king, and he was anointed by Elijah to become king of the Syrians. But they always battled the Israelites. Go ahead.
So that's what I asked earlier. Is that like when Elijah had met Hazael, he started crying because he knew like what he was going to do to Israel? Is this?
Yeah, that's another heavy point you're bringing out, because now you're bringing it back. When Elijah met Hazael, he wept, and Hazael came to him and bowed down and everything. Hazael didn't understand it because Elijah said that he knew the things that he would do in the future to Israel. because Hazael was a terror to Israel and they could never defeat him. He was not an Israelite. You know what I mean? He was a Syrian. So getting back to the story, if we can go back to where we were at, where were we at?
2 Kings 9.
2 Kings 9 and what?
26.
26. I hope y'all still rocking with us.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 9, verse 26. Oh, sorry. Verse 25.
Mhm.
Then said Jehu to Bidkar, his captain, take up and cast him in the portion of the field of Naboth the Jezreelite. For remember how that.
So getting back to where we at now, we're at where Jehu, who was anointed by Elijah to be the king of Israel, he comes to take it. And you have the king, you have the Ahab's son, Joram, who is now the king of Israel, and you have the king of Judah that are together. Well, Joram, he seen that they wasn't on that, they was on some different type of time, and he turned around, right? And started, was he the one that rode off? And they shot, and Jehu shot a bow and arrow and hit him in the heart and killed him. Then he said, take him and toss him in the field, Naboth's field. Remember, his father got Naboth's field through Jezebel. Go ahead.
For remember how that when I and thou rode together after Ahab his father, the Lord laid his burden upon him. Surely I have seen yesterday the blood of Naboth and the blood of his son, saith the Lord. I will requite thee in this plat, saith the Lord. Now therefore take and cast them into the plat of ground, according to the word of the Lord. But when Ahaziah, the king of Judah, saw this, he fled by the way of the garden house, and Jehu followed after him instead, smite him also in the chariot. And they did so, going up to the Gur, which is by Iblim. And he fled to Megiddo and died there. And his servants carried him in a chariot to Jerusalem and buried him in a sepulchre, which his fathers in the city of David, with his fathers in the city of David. And in the 11th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, began Ahaziah to reign over Judah. And when Jehu came to Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and tied her hair up, and tied her head.
Now Ahab is dead, her sons is dead. Jezebel heard that Jehu was coming, and so she got all beautiful and dressed up, and in defiance towards this brother that's coming to take the throne. Go ahead.
And tied her hair and looked out a window.
And she stood in the window looking down from the palace. Go ahead.
And as Jehu entered in at the gate, she said, had Zimri peace, who slew his master?
Uh-huh.
And he lifted up his face to the window and said, who was on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 wenches.
Eunuchs. So she looks out the window and she's mocking him, and he looks up and he says, who is on my side? And then 2 or 3 eunuchs. You know what a eunuch is, right? You know what a eunuch is. A eunuch is a man that physically never sleeps with a woman, can't sleep with a woman, or spiritually doesn't want a woman or a wife. So a lot of times in ancient times, there would be eunuchs that would be people from other nations or whatever the case may be, where their business is taken off, castrated off. So they only have a desire to do the work that they're supposed to do. They're never going to be with a woman. And then spiritually, you can also be a eunuch. Like Christ said, you could also be a eunuch spiritually by just wanting to do the work of the Lord. You got all your business down there. You just decide, I don't want a wife. I'm going to completely dedicate my life to serving the Lord, right? So 3 of these eunuchs look out the window, 2 or 3 eunuchs, right? Go ahead. Verse 33.
Come on, verse 33. And he said, throw her down. So they threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall.
He told the eunuchs to throw her down. Now, we're talking about a brother that just killed the king of Judah and the king of Israel. And he's coming into the city, and he's taking over. And he said, who is with me? And he said, throw her down. The eunuchs threw Jezebel out the window of the castle. Go ahead.
And some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall.
Her blood splashed on the wall. That's how hard she hit the ground. Go ahead.
And on the horses, and she trod her underfoot.
And when she hit the ground, Jehu took his horses and stomped on her body. bitch. That's what Jehu did. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Verse 34. And when he was come in, he did eat and drink and said.
So when he came in, he ate and drank. Go ahead.
And said, go, see now this cursed woman and bury her, for she is a king's daughter.
He said, go down there and get her body, bury her, because she is a king's daughter. That was some respect he didn't have to give, because she was a princess from the Phoenicians.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. And they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull and the feet and the palms of her hands.
They didn't find the rest of her body because the wild dogs ate up the rest of her body. All they could get was her head, her hands, and her feet. Go ahead.
Wherefore they came again and told him, and he said, this is the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, in the portion of Jezreel shall dogs eat the flesh of Jezebel. And
so he said, so when they told him that, when they told Jehu, he said, like, this is a prophecy that Elijah said, that the dogs would eat the flesh of Jezebel. Go ahead.
And the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Jezreel, so that they shall not say, this is Jezebel.
Right. So she would be no more. Now I want you to give me the spirit of Jezebel in Revelation. Now this is Jezebel for you. You didn't know who Jezebel was. You always hear about it in the Christian church. You hear the term Jezebel. This is who she was. She was a woman that wanted to usurp authority. She was a woman that wanted power. She was a woman that persecuted anything that was righteous men, the prophets of the Lord. Not only that, she was allowed to exist because she had a weak man. He was a king of Israel and he was weak as hell. And he allowed her to do these things. This is why a woman with that spirit is allowed to do that thing, be like that, because men allow it.
Right.
Men allow it. Men allow a woman to be a whore and to be vile and evil and disgusting. That's the spirit of this place. For it is to be vile, evil, and disgusting. And this is why a woman is allowed to compass a man, to rule over a household. Okay, go ahead.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 20. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols.
Right.
And I gave her space to repent for her fornication, and she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except the report of their deeds. And I will kill her children with death. And all the churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the reins and hearts. And I will give unto everyone one of you according to your works. But unto you I say, and unto the rest in Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Satan, so they speak, I will put upon you none other burden, but that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him I will give power over the nations. He shall rule them with a rod of iron.
Wait, Salakia, what verse you on?
Verse 28 now.
28.
Like verse
Good
27.
night. Okay, let's start it one more time from 20.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 20. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess.
She called herself a prophetess. The Christian church is filled with black women that claim that they know God, that claim that they can teach you spirituality, that call themselves prophetess, that are full of deceit and full of lies and full of gullibleness, right? That don't know a goddamn thing. They're trying to. It's such of a disgusting thing, especially now in the truth, to listen to a woman try to teach the Bible or try to teach you about God, when the Lord never, ever, ever wanted a woman to be over man and usurp authority over man and teach men. That is the spirit of Jezebel. That is the spirit. The spirit of Jezebel in America is the spirit of a woman prosecutor, the spirit of a woman judge, the spirit of a woman police officer,
The spirit of a woman pastor. That's the spirit of Jezebel. Someone who usurps authority and thinks that they know righteousness more than God and can tell you as a man and teach you as a man. That is a spirit that the Lord is against. Go ahead, keep reading.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
To teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols.
And to eat things sacrificed to teach. Now, the Christian church, the whole Christian church is set up based on that spirit that is in there. It's the Jezebel spirit. Now, when you look at the Christian church, it's set up to cater to women. The whole thing. And that's why you have men that can't be in a Christian church. That's why you have a plethora of Black and Hispanic women that is sitting in the church without a man. Okay, because that Christian pastor, that man that is a pastor, is doing everything to cater to them damn women. Can you imagine how many women would still be in the Christian church if the pastor was saying you need to dress more modest? None of them.
Right.
Can you imagine if the Christian pastor starts to talk about, modesty and, taking care of home and, being a helpmeet to your man? You know how many sisters will still be in that church? None of them. They don't want to hear that. But he tells them what they want to hear.
Right.
It's the spirit of Jezebel. And it's also a business, because if they're not in there, then he no longer has money coming into his business. So the Christian church is a business of catering to women and saying the things of God that they want to hear. Pleading the blood of Jesus. Have you ever been swallowed? Like, what the hell is it? Is a circus. And it is because it caters to women. That's why you have, effeminate choir directors. That's why you have molestations and you have all of this wickedness going on within the church. That's why you have where, anything is accessible to eat according to God. All you got to do is just pray over it. Say your grace. That's why in your family, when you get together, Big Mama is the one that leads everybody in prayer. It's the spirit of Jezebel.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 21. And I gave her space to repent for her fornication. And she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds.
So the Lord said he's going to bring up a great wrath on brothers and sisters that follow this mindset, this spirit of Jezebel, this whoredom. And this whoredom, like the world, because they don't know the Bible, they've always used Jezebel as, sexual, this whore. She's a Jezebel. This whoredom is talking about the philosophies of America, the philosophies in Christianity, the lies that have been spread. The truth is in the scriptures, in the Bible, in the records. But there's so many lies that we believe and so many doctrines within doctrines in the Christian church. Like they say, plead the blood of Jesus. What the hell does that mean? All you got to do is plead the blood of Jesus. Claim it. All you got to do is claim it. There's so many levels of doctrines within the Christian church that feed the Jezebel spirit and that spirit of fornication and getting far away from the Most High. So if you ever had a question of who Jezebel was in the Bible and what that spirit entails, well, you have it right here. I just explained it to you, right. what that spirit entails. And your great grandmother, your grandpa, all of them have the Jezebel spirit. It's not a man or woman thing. It's a spirit that is a spirit of whoredom against the Lord, turning brothers and sisters or the nation of Israel against the Lord. And not only that, it's the spirit of a weak man, a man being really weak and catering to women.
Right.
He claims to be a man of God, but he's always doing things to suffice a woman, to make them feel a little more comfortable. Well, in the truth, according to the Bible, you're not going to feel comfortable. Right. You're not going to feel comfortable coming out of America and come and changing the way you think from how you was raised and how America says a man and a woman relationship should be. You're not going to feel comfortable. I'm going to tell you right now. You're not going to feel comfortable. You know what I mean? The Lord is a man of war. And from the stories we just read, you should understand that the Lord ain't playing. He don't give a damn about how many followers you got at your church. Right. He don't care how long your weave is and how how nice your clothes is at your church. He doesn't give a damn about none of those things that you care about in your evil, wicked, simple mind. He does not care. He doesn't care. You will find yourself just like Jezebel. You will find yourself at the end of the hand of judgment. You will find yourself somewhere where you don't want to be if you don't come back to the law, statute, and commandments, and if you don't snap up out of the doctrines and the fires and the spirit of Jezebel. With that, that's the class. Let's clap it up. Hey, the water. Yes, yeah, here it is right here. It's right here. You go.
This is the ISBK security announcements. We are the ISBK started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find it in Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3 and 8 through 10, which means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase that the Lord gives you. Give to Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations is the Passover. Remind Akim and Akwakim to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and war scarf. Salute.
Let's do it.
With that, men of Israel, Amajim, you're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher, which means stand. Men of Israel, Amajim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak,
Yahweh Shemel Shabbat.
With that, Yajim Matah, class dismissed.
Let me see. Let me give y'all some shout outs up in here. Let me see. Let me go to the top. Got Sister Barata now up in here. We got the Trooper Kodasha Allah always up in the building. We got Sister Olivia Arnold always up in the building. We got Sister Nazam Anna Jewel up in the building. What's up, sis? We got Black Dazzle up in the building. Shalom to you, sis. We had Fake Israelite in the building. Israel 144. Get your ass in class. We got Yasser Allah in the building, Louisville, Kentucky. Shout out to you, brother. Okay, and we got Davion Perchu. What's up, brother? Hey, I got that shirt for you. We got Kawamaz Boff up in here also. Listen, we'll be back next Wednesday. Make sure you get everything together for the Passover. It's right around the corner. That's part of the reason why the class started late, because, you know, things is getting tight right now. Time is getting tight. But the water to all you brothers and sisters. We see you next Wednesday. We'll rock again. All right. Shalom. Right.